Imagine having money drained from the card you and your family need to survive. That is the reality for many people in our community right now. Hello, I'm Alex Bell, and in this To The Point feature, we're investigating EBT card thefts and possible solutions. In 2023 alone, Sacramento County spent more than $12 million to reimburse victims of EBT theft. Benefit recipients throughout the state reached out to the Point team asking, how is my information being stolen? Is it an inside job? And what is being done to fix the problem? Here's what we learned. Inside Kevin's South Sacramento apartment.
I'm a foodie, so I love to cook.
It's hard to miss the giant cooking rack. The pots and pans tell his story, and he swears by his family's recipe. Holding on to faith, trust, encouragement, understanding, good health, and consideration despite falling on hard times.
The fear of not being able to have something for a decent dinner each night.
The father of two lost his job in 2023. He reluctantly signed up for CalFresh, California's food assistance program, and got an electronic benefits transfer card, also known as an EBT card.
It has allowed me to continue to buy food, to be able to eat and feed my kids and survive during this time.
The state deposits money on these debit cards each month to recipients who qualify for food and cash assistance programs. The program is run by the California Department of Social Services. For millions, these EBT cards are survival. But every time Kevin goes to the grocery store, anxiety creeps in at the register. Several incidents with his EBT card being declined can do that.
And I thought, what the heck's going on? So I called the number on the back of the card, and my balances were zero.
His account drained, his EBT card information stolen.
So it was over $700, almost $800 gone, wiped out completely.
California has been hemorrhaging money the last few years, trying to reimburse benefits recipients like Kevin receive, victims who've had their EBT benefits stolen. According to CalMatters, last year, California was losing about $10 million of your taxpayer dollars a month to EBT theft. Oftentimes, benefits are stolen repeatedly. Kevin says just a few months after his benefits were reimbursed, they were stolen again, along with the monthly benefit he had just received.
$2, and that was it. The rest was wiped out. You take it personally. I thought, what the heck am I doing wrong? What am I doing wrong here? But I called in again, and this time I was on hold for literally a day, almost 8 hours.
Kevin received 3 EBT replacement cards in 1 year alone to protect his account.
It just weighs on you. I try not to let the kids know, but my son's aware. He'll say things like, we don't need that.
Investigators say thieves are scamming and skimming EBT cards. Scamming is when fraudulent text messages, emails, or calls are sent to people to get sensitive information. Skimming is where someone inserts a device at a grocery store, gas station, or bank, capturing a cardholder's information. In Sacramento County, skimming is the most common type of theft. The county says it happens more frequently at convenience stores with ATMs.
You're dealing with real victims. You're dealing with people in person that are desperately waiting for these funds so that they can take care of themselves and their family.
Jana Haynes with the Sacramento County Department of Human Services says the county has 2 investigators that strictly work on EBT claims. Those 2 sworn peace officers didn't go on camera for their own safety and autonomy needed to do their jobs, but they did give us their insight. They say EBT theft concerns started back in 2019, and they warned the California Department of Social Services when they cracked a major case.
One person being able to defraud that many people, we knew that there was a huge problem.
Sacramento County EBT fraud investigators say Jawan Gibson was able to scam over 1,600 victims in more than 30 counties in California.
He was able to amass about $1 million in cash over a year.
Gibson pleaded guilty to multiple counts, including grand theft and possessing access to card-making equipment. He was sentenced to 48 months in state prison and ordered to pay over $800,000 in restitution to reimburse victims. Sacramento County, like many other counties, is seeing a significant increase in EBT theft. Take a look at 2023. Sacramento County data shows just in the month of January, recipients were reimbursed more than $550,000. Throughout the year, reimbursements continued to climb. In December alone, the county ended up reimbursing more than $1.6 million. By the end of 2023, Sacramento County reimbursed over $12 million, and that's just 1 year alone.
If you multiply that over many years, over many counties, you can imagine the prevalence of the problem. It's hard on taxpayers, and all of that money comes out of the general fund. And so it's a huge financial impact as well as a mental and emotional tax on the people that are getting this money stolen. Our customer service bureaus are extremely busy. We can only process so many people through the course of the day.
How much money are you guys able to recover?
Probably less than 5% of the time are we able to recoup that money.
And when you are able to recoup some of that cash, what happens to that money afterwards?
It'll go back into the general fund so that the counties that have paid out additional benefits can get some restitution. But like we said, it's never going to be the full amount.
We need to develop a balance between accessibility and integrity.
Sean Ferris and Greg Mahoney lead the California Welfare Fraud Investigators Association.
Because it is such a prolific problem, the counties are stepping up.
The nonprofit has been around for more than 50 years, investigating public social service programs, including EBT theft. Both Sean and Gregory also supervise their own welfare fraud departments in their own counties.
Part of the reason why California is so ripe for the picking is we give so much out.
The CWFIA says they've been working with the state to change their approach to EBT theft. They say there are two victims: the benefit recipients and you.
There's taxpayers across this state that have to foot the bill for this, that continuously should have an expectation that those that issue out these monies are good stewards of the taxpayer funds.
Gregory says he warned the state about how vulnerable cards are in the past.
5 years? How many millions of dollars have gone? I warned them a couple years ago that EDD has been a slap in the face, and you're running down that same road. Do you want that embarrassment? Do you want to lose your jobs? Because what's going to happen when that hits?
Many viewers reached out to ABC 10 suggesting that this theft is happening internally. Kevin suspects that too.
This is going to sound terrible. This has got to be an inside job. There is somebody at least who is very familiar with how that process works.
What would you say to those people who feel like, is this an inside job?
I think that's a fair question, but I think that people are misunderstanding or undereducated on how these thieves are operating. They're literally standing in front of an ATM waiting to withdraw those funds. They need to withdraw them before the client does.
Have investigators ever found county employees committing EBT theft?
Not that we know of. That would be a really horrible situation, but they would be subject to the same prosecution that anybody else would.
The CWFIA says most of the evidence points to organized crime rings that are working up and down the state.
And I can say emphatically, this is not an internal crime. This is organized crime. We are dealing with the criminals. They know the system, they study the system.
County fraud departments are hitting roadblocks trying to investigate crime syndicates throughout the nation.
We're reaching out to our federal partners. We are dealing with Homeland Security, FBI, Secret Service. We are all trying to chase after the same thing, and yet we don't have a central resource to even run a picture through to say, has anyone nationwide ran into this person?
The CWFIA says county fraud departments are calling each other to cross-reference information. They'd like to see a central database to help track crime trends and reports.
We have reached out locally to our state asking for this resource. It has not gotten us any traction. We have 0 people raising their hands to answer this call.
As more reimbursements are issued, investigators say it gets harder to look into this crime. For some, there's an easy fix: chip card technology. Currently, no states issue EBT cards with chips. Federal regulations direct states to use EBT cards with magnetic stripes only. California is working to be the first to update restrictions and allow chip and tap technology, which is expected in the summer of 2024.
They will tell you that we're the first state that's implementing chip cards. They're very happy to hang their hat on that. What if I told you the chip cards are at risk already?
The CWFIA says field investigators have seen thieves jam chip readers so people are forced to swipe their cards, which results in their information being stolen.
What we know about criminals is that they're going to try and use new technology to combat new technology. And so we need, from a federal level, protections and security the same way we protect credit cards.
Investigators and recipients want the state to implement a 2-step authentication process to access accounts or allow recipients to verify their purchases in the app. But for now, millions of card holders are doing the best they can, hoping their cards work.
Just have my fingers crossed this time that I'm not going to get robbed again. And it is that feeling of being robbed. You know, it's hard enough to, I'm trying not to get emotional, it's hard enough to have to be on assistance.
But that family recipe filled with trust, encouragement, and understanding still gives him faith.
I honestly can't wait until I have a job where I feel productive again, where I can feel proud again. I can't wait till I don't have an EBT card anymore. It means I have a job.
If you receive EBT benefits, the Department of Social Services launched a new app at the end of last year called EBT Edge. And within the app, card holders are able to freeze their cards, change their PINs, and also block out-of-state transactions. So if you want more information, make sure you head to our website, abc10.com. And another question people have is, why hasn't the state put chip and tap technology in EBT cards? Well, we asked the state.
Take approximately 10 days for
EBT theft is costing California taxpayers millions each year. In Sacramento County,
7 locations had nearly $200,000 withdrawn fraudulently in just January of 24.
Sean Smith, a detective with the Sacramento County Sheriff's Office, says organized crime rings are the ones cashing in on EBT theft. Each month, the state deposits money on these EBT cards for recipients who qualify for food and cash assistance programs. The program is run by the California Department of Social Services. According to Cal Matters, last year, California was losing about 10 million of your taxpayer dollars a month to EBT theft. Oftentimes, benefits were stolen repeatedly.
We see dozens and dozens of reports come in, and it's all tied back to skimming.
Skimming is the most common type of theft in Sacramento County. That's where someone inserts a device like this at a grocery store, gas station, or bank, capturing a cardholder's information. Several of you reached out to our To The Point team asking, why hasn't the state implemented chip and tap technology with EBT cards?
They need to up their game on the protection of the card information.
We don't have a chip on the card because you have to slide the card.
Why can't you put us a new one with a chip in it?
We took your questions to the California Department of Social Services. They say federal regulations direct states to use EBT cards with magnetic stripes only, saying in a statement to ABC 10, the federal EBT system was designed with fixed requirements that limited card technology to only conduct magnetic stripe transactions, which means federal intervention to change the system of EBT cards is needed first. The second reason, the state would have to make significant changes to the current EBT system infrastructure, adding that EBT transactions are processed differently than commercial credit and bank cards. Without the back-end technological upgrades, CDSS says a transaction using a chip-tap EBT card would fail. Currently, no states issue EBT cards with chips. California is working to be the first to update restrictions and develop chip and tap technology, a $50 million effort. The state says they expect to implement new chip cards this summer. They say all card recipients will receive new cards with chips. And just so you know, California isn't the only state dealing with EBT theft. U.S. Senator Ron Wyden from Oregon and other lawmakers recently introduced a bipartisan bill that, if passed, will require new EBT cards nationwide to include chips after 2 years. All older cards would need to be reissued with chips within 5 years. The United States Department of Agriculture would be directed to provide funding to support states making the transition. Thank you for watching this To The Point feature. If you want to watch more features like this one, make sure you check out our ABC 10 Plus app. There you'll find the latest newscasts and headlines, and also stay up to date with weather, and you'll get to see all the great stories that we tell right here at ABC 10. Thank you again for watching, and we'll see you later.